Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Unboxing AI webinar series, and this is episode number 44, if I'm not wrong. Difficult to keep track now. I would request Ravi to please turn on your camera. There you are. Awesome. So, thank you to everybody who's joined, folks still trickling in. Thank you, means a lot. As I mentioned, this is the Unboxing AI webinar series every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. India time, or depending on where you are in the world, whatever time it is. Um, we This is by CARPL. CARPL is, if you don't know, we think of ourselves as an enterprise imaging AI platform, helping you bridge the gap from of this whole ecosystem of AI applications, beautiful solutions, trying to make radiologists faster, better, cheaper, and truly bringing them to the fingertips of the radiologists that we all are catering to. And today, very, very, very special guest. Somebody who is over the years become a very dear friend, and we each other's agony aunts, if I may, in this journey of building health tech in India for the world. My dear friend Ravi. Ravi is the co-founder and CEO of Biocliq. Uh, Biocliq, is I had actually come to know of Biocliq. Ravi, I don't even know if you would remember. Uh, Through one of the largest medtech companies on the planet, where you were helping their MRI team
Oh
build
yeah,
some,
yes, yeah.
raw data ingestion pipelines and stuff like that. And I was running Mahajan Imaging at the time, so I had actually come in touch with. This was 2017, I think 2018, and then Ramesh Venkateswaran had connected us or reconnected us into 2021, when you had ventured into building your own products. Ravi has a illustrious background, and we'll get into why he left that illustrious background to enter our crazy world of radiology AI. But he was leading billion-dollar businesses at HCL and HP, where he was bringing highly innovative digital transformation technologies to the market. Um, and at BioClick, they're basically building software solutions for urology and more recently cardiology. His current focus is on strategic sales and partnerships to accelerate the global adoption of their solutions. So thank you, Ravi, once again. And I know this was very short notice. So thank you for doing this. Means the world.
Hey, no, thanks. Thanks for having me over, Vidur. Look forward to this conversation. Definitely, yeah, we go back a long way ever since my inception into healthcare, and you're somebody I look up to. And yeah, let's uh,
I,
let's roll
I,
this
I,
over.
I
And
generally, I often say, Ravi, that when nice people say nice things, you should typically discount them. So, no, so Ravi, as is customary, we start off with this icebreaker kind of question where, so I told you beforehand, so I think
yeah,
you had a moment to think about it. But yeah, so what do you do as if you were telling a 5-year-old?
okay. I mean, that's the tough one. I find it even tough to explain it to my 22-year-old son, but I'll take a shot. We are. I mean, our passion into doing stuff on healthcare is to keep the patient at the end of it all. And one of the attempts, I would say, all the algorithms and stuff, etc., that we do, is to see if we can kind of uh, clear this whole maze for the end patient, whether it's by way of visuals, whether it's by way of 3D, whether it's by way of simplifying, so that when the conversation happens with his clinician or doctor, uh, he kind of feels that there is a lot more transparency in this whole thing. He feels more comfortable. He doesn't shop around anymore. So somewhere the whole theme evolves around how do I use tech in all our products, while the intent is clearly to make life easy for a radiologist or a specialist like a urologist in our case. but we keep the patient in mind. How do we uh, help these two gentlemen communicate in a manner so that this whole divide which exists or which did exist till some years back, where we
Ravi
see
sir,
some
no
black,
5-year-old is understanding that.
yeah. So and yeah, so that a very brave attempt at that. I don't know
I
if you're
know, I
succeeding. I
know.
don't know if you're succeeding, but I think we are making it a little better than what it is.
Nice. No, I think, just to since maybe also, I kind of know what you do, maybe just yeah, it's actually a very difficult concept to understand. Like you make, I don't know, people who do operations, you make them faster. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something like that. So, but Ravi, I would love to hear from you, and I don't think I've ever heard it myself. The journey of truly running billion-dollar businesses at some of the largest tech services providers on the planet, uh, to maybe starting your own and then getting into this whole product framework. Like, what does
what
that
problem?
journey look like, and what was the rationale, and
Yeah.
what have you learned?
So I'm a typical army kid. Grew up in cantonments and hospitals. Typically, in such environments, are real spanky, and most of the doctors are colonels and lieutenant colonels. So as a kid, I had this fascination. Such an in all that chaos, these were such nice, neat places. People proper and prim, and probably doing a lot of human service. So that was a fascination. But as like every Indian kid, if you do better at math compared to other subjects, your parents typically tend to push you towards either doing engineering and stuff. And that's how I ended up being an engineer. Did grew up my way into the leadership both at HCL and then Hewlett Packard. At some point, towards almost after 2 decades plus, suddenly it hit me hard. All the work that I do on the tech side, and most of it were for large telecom companies and banking, financials, and so on and so forth. I said it might make sense to do something where the end touch point is probably an end user. And it so happened at that point, I was given this opportunity. For people who are familiar with the Indian IT scene, Mr. Nadar is the chairman, was the chairman of HCL Tech. He wanted me to chart out as to what are the emerging techs that perhaps a giant like HCL should invest in. And one of the things that caught my attention at that point, and we weren't good at that stage, where was health tech. Clearly, it looked like there was a clear impetus or a need or a craving that tech could make such a big difference in healthcare. And I mustered up courage after having done that project for him, saying that I intend to call it quits and start something on my own, uh, with a clear intention that probably he'll give me some of his some decimal part of his money and the blessings. But Nada, being Mr. Nada, I think he left me with the blessings, and so I hopped onto a flight to Bangalore. Ironically, ran into one of India's biggest founders in the IT space, the gentleman who heads Cognizant, used to head
Hmm.
Cognizant. And Lakshmi was asking me, what do I do? I said, I just quit. I want to do something in health tech. And, he said, I am the NASCOM chairman, and maybe I can help you. We're looking forward to incubate some product companies. So next day I landed up, and he said, you are incubated at NASCOM. And he said, go meet G Healthcare and see if you can do something with them. And I landed at Jack Welch and did. It was a single one-man team, and then my good friend Ranga joined me, and we started doing some mini POCs. I had the gumption to tell them that I do only paid POCs, and they actually obliged. And I think Ramesh was a mentor in that sense, and that's where we connected as well, Ramesh. So that's where we begin, because while we understand tech, we really didn't have our depth in the imaging or the healthcare world. So working with G Healthcare was such a blessing in the early days.
That's
So that's
incredible. So you didn't actually have healthcare background. So would you do this again?
I think I would do it again.
Or would you rather do a telecom thing? I don't know.
No, no, I think I'm past that now. What fascinates me here is there is so much to do. Uh, it's a nascent field, AI or no AI, but there's so much that tech can do. And first 2 years, I just spent looking at, you know what, I mean, the first project we ever did for which we got paid was to set up a small nodal box. It was actually ran on a Raspberry Pi, where some remote uh, part of India could actually send their DICOM images to a central place in GE. And GE used to, at that point, I hope no one is listening, but they used to pay a ton of money to Intel to put those nuke boxes, etc. And suddenly here is a team which probably did it on a 400 rupee Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And it's fascinated me. Would I do it again? Yeah, if some of those regulatory hassles are eased, probably I won't mind. But having got into it, we built a very passionate team. People who I wouldn't say like me, but much younger, quit some very high-paying jobs in respective health tech companies, and together, I think about 20 of us, major passion. So to answer your question, let me get the first innings right, Vidur. I still don't know if I've got it right. So
No, awesome. Thank you, Ravi, for sharing. I think it's incredible how someone with no background of healthcare at after so many years can come in and make healthcare their home. So I think it's pretty inspirational. As also we grow and a lot of people come into our journey without having backgrounds of healthcare. So it's very inspirational for us. So let's get to BioClick, Ravi. What does BioClick do?
yeah, so
And also, sorry, before you go, so for everybody who's joined in, as is again, as you may know, we do prioritize your questions over our own conversation. So please feel free to shoot. You can use the Q&A, the chat, message me, whatever. Please don't hesitate. So yeah, Ravi, what does BioClick do?
when we started our journey, I mean, the good part is, as part of our founding team, we have a fairly eminent radiologist, Dr. Anand, as part of what we do. And when we were looking around, we survived initial couple of years making products for some of these big imaging OEMs, pulled in a little money, and then decided that we would make our own products. We chose abdomen and urology as a space because at that point, when we started with COVID all over the place, virtually everybody who was into AI was doing something around the chest and lung. So we thought we'll be a little different.
Yeah.
And we picked on urology. And we clearly wanted the first product to be one where there was a significant amount of people afflicted by it. So, for example, like we took on renal calcification or kidney stones. Looked like globally, at least 10 to 12% of the population had an issue.
Yeah.
And then we said we'll build our first stack on it. It was relatively simple. Now, was it solved even before this era of AI came in? It was. Can it still work without what we do? Perhaps it can. But we wanted to build a product where the adoption is faster, where they don't get feel threatened, and neither I'm doing something wonderful in terms of detecting cancer or something like that. I'm doing something which they do day in and day out. It's grunt work. If I could just simplify it, make it more elegant, add in some new features which AI and computer vision give me the leverage to. For example, everything in three-dimensional on a plain on a plain KUB CT, just trace the eraser, which was impossible to do in the absence of contrast. So some little things, then characterize the stone without probably using dual energy source. We
Hmm.
built those little things and made it in terms of so that it's an end-to-end report. with a lot of visualization, measurements, and stuff. A, we were looking to help the radiologist probably add some insights which a computer vision and 3D brings more to what he could do. We had the urologist in mind because at the end of the day, the report uh, with the patient finally goes to a urologist. So did a lot of meetings with urologists to understand their perspective of what do they expect in a report. And then this whole equation came about that they wanted this report to be so easily explainable to a patient as much as possible. So we built that. Uh, I think in a lot of places in India, we were almost the first AI to be implemented. So we learned it the hard way. We knew that there are some 37 types of packs in India. Everyone needs an integration. Bandwidth was an issue. A lot of diagnostic centers had no clue in terms of even how to probably tag DICOM in terms of anatomies. So great learning. Revenue wise, I wish I could have done better, but it was uh, in what I mean, I come from this old HP days, right? So we always believe that you land in a customer and then expand. So we're
Yeah.
using urologic and the kidney stone into landing at a customer place, getting them used to AI, removing the grunt work that they do, make it a little more easier, help them sell a little more value to the uh, urologist. So if you look at the cohort of patients that we cater to a lot of large diagnostic chains. We cater to hospitals with a urology specialty or some dedicated urology clinics by themselves, where the percentage of people coming for kidney related surgery is significantly high. And that's how we started. And then we have moved on to doing stuff on surgical planning for kidney tumors, kidney transplants. So it kind of taking over the urology space in some way. I think if as we add prostate and stuff into this, looks like a neat spot. Not at this point, not too many competition, but I'm sure there will be coming.
So
Uh,
Ravi, in the we were talking previously that you are actually getting requests from some of your surgical customers to integrate your solution into like a Apple Vision Pro or a
correct.
Microsoft HoloLens and all that. Can you speak to that? Like, what is the surgical planning solution, and what does, like, 10 years down the line, what will it look like?
So if you read the latest Forbes article on the future of surgery, till they're predicting it till about 2040. A, obviously minimally invasive. B, in the US, for example, 65% of surgeries today are robotic. I think that's going to be global as well at some point in time. The moment it moves into this realms of robotic surgery, minimally invasive, you need that kind of intricate details of complex organs, say like a kidney or a prostate, where you have to get into the nuts and bolts of how the vasculature is rolled out, how much of the tumor is embedded into the parenchyma, etc. And if all this can be visualized, which is what we have done, and then you port it on a AR VR module, say with a HoloLens or a Meta 3, as we're trying right now, suddenly and then some of these can be exported into a tile file format to work with the likes of, say, a Da Vinci or a CMR and so on. So suddenly this whole world transforms into a surgeon using deftly his hands like a joystick, looking at what we have created, which is 3D. At some point, probably we'll make it even real time at some logical point. But he puts it up in a large VR screen. It has it has kind of become a training ground for younger surgeons. Now they're seeing it on a big screen as to how the chief surgeon is going about it. It has created this whole thing about telesurgery, whether it's where people operating in one point, the other hospitals log in. I mean, it's mind blowing. And if you recently read Vidur, I think our good friends in SSI Mantra are now talking of a bus which goes around with a surgical gear, and they will
Wow.
probably land, put the patient in, do everything remotely. I think I think India needs it. India needs about 15. India does about 15 million surgeries. out of which probably less than 2% is minimally invasive today, but the numbers will
Hmm.
grow. So I think this, I mean, India typically leapfrogs technologies, right? I mean, we suddenly moved from a plain old telephone dialing into 3G and 4G. I think we are going to make that quantum leap in surgery as well, is the way I look at it. And as the world grows, surgical arms will get much cheaper. It's quite expensive today, but with the likes of SSI, Mantra, the Merrills of the world coming in, they're going to crash the price down. So I expect a surgery will be 100% robotic in 10 years from now. It will
Yeah.
all be on an AR, VR. It will all be on the cloud. I think people would, at some point, I vision even voice commands would work to make the surgical moves instead of a joystick.
You say it all so simply, Ravi, but the implications of what you're saying are just so crazy that you're saying almost all surgery will be robotic in 10 years and voice commands would be moving the robots.
Awesome.
And it's like you're instructing a resident or something like that, do this, do this, do this, and the rest is happening. uh so where would BioClick be in that stack, if
I,
I may?
I suspect. So now I'm not trying to glorify surgery here. It's the last resort when people with tumor
Yeah.
definitely need to undergo that. But once having decided that's the last option and it has to be done. For example, in the absence of such AR, VR, or surgical planning tools, uh, let's take kidney tumors for example. Uh, typically, the whole idea has been if there's one is a sizable tumor in one and the other kidney is good, let's knock it off and do a radical nephrectomy so that the patient will continue to anyway survive. From there, it is moved on to how much can of that kidney which is embedded with the tumor, with these kind of visual 3D enablement detailing available, how much of the second kidney can be probably salvaged so that a person
Hmm.
goes home with either a 1.6 or a 1.7 sort of a kidney instead of going with one. I see this tremendous improvement. I know we discussed this stats before this call. It's gone up 50% after the tools. Like not only I'm not taking credit that we have done it, but
Hmm.
similar people who probably do this. The number of kidney surgeries where, if I would call them partial nephrectomy, as they would, the percentage has just shot up 50% after the enablement of such tools. And imagine, I think it's going to be even better and better as robotics get miniaturized and so on and so forth. Uh, while there would be one set of people who would work towards preventing cancer and identifying cancer early, I think there is definitely a play for folks like us after it has come. What's the best treatment pathway?
Yeah.
How can we make surgeries easier, faster, safer,
Yeah.
probably cheaper? So,
Because the thing is that if I go out on a limb and think about surgery, uh, radiation therapy, and then, like other therapies like focused ultrasound and, uh, some of the other, like, non-invasive surgical techniques.
yeah.
Are you looking at those as well, like tools for
No,
radiation therapy and stuff like
no. I think that's a separate science by itself. No, I think right now we don't intend, we do not have the wherewithal, but
that?
there
Hmm.
is clearly a play um, for that to happen. How much of things that can be solved, I honestly don't know. I mean, we haven't ventured. Uh, the I think as a company, we are so fascinated with just sticking to urology. We thought it's easier to roll out products like probably I did in my previous avatar. But
Yeah.
then after having moved here, I realized uh, one kidney has kept us busy for 5 years now.
Yeah. Interesting. So we've got a couple of questions in. One is from Ashok Maya to everyone. What is the relationship between CARPL and BioClick? Well, Ashok, CARPL is a AI marketplace as well. So BioClick is one of the AI tools that is available on our marketplace. It's the only one in the in the nephrology space. and we have their solution that does automatic renal stone detection, segmentation, characterization, and quantification on a non-contrast CT scan of the abdomen. So if there is a radiologist who wants access to the BioClick toolkit, they can do that through CARPL. So that is our relationship, besides the fact that we are good friends. And and then
Yeah,
we
in fact,
have,
I think were we
yes.
one of the first to onboard Vidur? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, of
Uh,
course. You were one of the first because you had Docker containers that you could share with
yeah,
us. And that
correct.
was very, like,
And
most
and
people did not
and
do Docker at that time because everybody
yeah.
was using their AWS free credits.
And
So,
I know you opened the doors for us at Harvard Medical School for our
yes,
first.
we did. We worked with Manudeep. Correct,
Yeah,
correct,
yeah.
correct. That was fun. Yeah. So yes. And then, very, very good question. What advice do you have for young startups looking to navigate the commercialization journey in medtech?
Wow. I think it's what was the world when I even we entered 6 years back to what it is so radically different. But having said that, what I realized is what I would advise is get a product off the block and roll it out and test it out in the field. Don't sit back and think you will make the best product, wait for it, and then roll it out. The best products actually emerge with you putting out a decent one and the customers
Mm.
start using it, feedback, talk to peers. And the more you interact with the product interacts with people who actually will eventually use it, the
But
product
Ravi,
actually gets
that
solidified.
that flows very well into the next question, which is from Shruti, who runs marketing at Koppel, who says that SAMD solutions require rigorous regulatory approvals, and what challenges has or roadblocks has BioClick faced in terms of getting FDA or CE. So the reason I wanted to correlate the comment you were making to this question was because every time you iterate on your product, you are supposed to file something with the regulator, right? Whether abbreviated as 510(k) or whatever it may be. So how does one deal with that, right? And that is not cheap.
Um, Absolutely. So I think one of the biggest bugbears facing a startup like us is the humongous amount of fees that one has to cough up for the certification part.
Yeah,
I wish there was some sort of a subsidy given to startups because it's not fair. The big giants and us pay the same price for FDA clearance. But
yeah,
having said that, to answer Shruti's question, I think you just for the FDA 510(k), the first version of the product, you typically go out with the minimal thing. Uh, you don't have to have the greatest product. What they're looking at is whatever you are calling out as what the product will do. As long as you can deliver that, that's good enough.
yeah,
Now, the add-ons which come eventually later, does everything need certification? Uh, the answer is yes. But would you get it certified every time? The answer perhaps is no. So best is to get version one out, FDA out into the market. The iterations typically work very well with the university hospitals. And
yeah,
then you land up at one use case where you think now this definitely is worth getting certified and probably will fetch you a little more dollar per transaction.
yeah,
You'll have to play it out. Have we cracked it? Honestly, I don't think we have cracked it. We're still learning. So we look up to uh, people who are successful, who have done it. That's the best way to learn. And for all of those who want to get a hang into what it is, Vidur, a beer with Vidur would help you a lot.
I wish. So it'll make me happy. But so just last question, Ravi, before we end. This is from Abhijit. Kind of we've covered this, but still, can BioClick products use augmented reality to give the exact location of tumors or stones to help doctors perform complex surgeries?
We are trying. It can. Uh, the problem is technically it's possible. Operationally, there are challenges. Can these stuff be carried into OT? Are
Mm.
surgeons comfortable wearing this and then doing the surgery? Because then there are three screens, right? You're looking at a VR. He also has to look at a Da Vinci console, and so it kind of uh, At some point, we'll get there. But we do not want to jazz up the doctor so much that the real intent
Yeah,
of getting it right with the patient is somewhere lost. As long
correct.
as it helps, aids it better, we will attempt that. But doing it for the sake of glorification of tech, I don't think makes sense.
I think that is a beautiful note to end on, that doing especially medtech for the sake of glorification of tech does not make sense. I think Ravi, thank you so much. We try very hard to end on time, and I think we've done it. Thank you so much. Means a lot. And to everybody else, see you next week, same time, same place. See
Thank you
you.
so much. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Vidur. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. Means a lot.